This is the National Coach Museum. This was a riding school.
It is part of the Royal Palace.
Concerning the vehicles, well, we have here the oldest vehicle of the collection. It was made in Spain during the last years of the 16th century, and it traveled from Madrid to Lisbon, bringing the first Spanish king that ruled Portugal. So, as you can imagine, on those days we didn't have the roads that we have today, so we had bumpy streets, dusty ones, and this was not easy for the king. And then if I talk about the conditions of traveling inside, you will say that the king was crazy. I mean, the wheel on front, as you can see, it has almost the same size as the one on the back. And the connection to the box is made direct. So this means that it didn't have suspension.
Bumps on the wheel here was for traction, very uncomfortable for the rider. There's a porta potty right in the coach. This coach was used for weddings. Small wheels in the front and large ones in the back. This is the Spanish carriage. There's an axle that can move. This one was built in Portugal in the same year as this one was built in Spain. This Portuguese thing is pretty much over the top.
The crown coach. As you can see, it has a lot of small crowns around and a big one right in the middle. This one was made not here in Portugal but in Paris, but by order of the Portuguese king. His name was John V. John V was, a man this size, a very short man, but with a lot of big ideas. When he went to the throne in the beginning of the 18th century, he didn't have money. Portugal went to the discoveries, we were rich, we spent everything. In the beginning of the 18th century, zero. But the king was still dreaming. The king thought, I'm going there, but I'm going with something special to call the attention. So, making some marketing. He decided to order not only this one, but 10 like this. Okay? Yeah. And we have to imagine how this was, shining and new. Okay? Red ink around everything, plus gold lift shining, velvet, very expensive, embroidery in gold and silver, plus inside it's a pity that we cannot see, but everything is covered with turtle shell. If this has impressed aristocracy, yes, of course, yes.
This came from the Pope to King John V.
What is unusual here on this one that I have on my back, not only the decoration, shows this lady the tradition of the four continents. Of course, using gold.
These ladies represent the 4 continents.
It is the only coach in this museum that has not glass, but
crystal in place of for the windows. This is in the back of the one that came from the Pope. This is Portuguese workmen, Portuguese design, but made in Italy.
This represents
This represents an earthquake of 1755. There's a lion representing the earthquake, and he's eating the population of Lisbon.
This is the earth on that day. Lisbon at that time was only, we had only houses.
summer and spring. Here's a couple gods, I forgot who. And it's spring and summer. This represents the city of Lisbon.
We think that Vasco da Gama was the one that went to Australia. What about North America? Columbus. Of course, but who was Columbus?
So it has a little suspension there, make it a little more comfortable. Well, the Portuguese think that Christopher Columbus was Portuguese, not Italian. His first wife was Portuguese. This one's even got a table in the middle. Just before Columbus headed out to find the New World, there was a massacre of Jews in Spain, and Isabel told Columbus to get out of town quick so he wouldn't get whacked in Barcelona. This one was built after the Industrial Revolution. There's all sorts of metal on it, whereas before it was leather. And there are lamps. Oh, there's a crown up on top, too. Made in England. It was built for the coronation of Charles I in Portugal. Cabriolet for women and children to ride around the gardens. Early 20th century.
What happened? At the time, the Republicans, they were trying to achieve power. And the king knew that something was going to happen in Lisbon. Many people told the king, don't go to the street today, the Republicans are trying to do a revolution and so on. But the king said, no, I'm going there. I'm going to show the population that I'm not afraid. Because in our hall, the Republicans shot people. You can see the holes of the bullets over here. Okay? The king died instantly. Also, the eldest son got killed on that day. We have a picture over there. You can see Queen Amelia with a bunch of flowers is trying to defend the family, and she was only able to save the youngest boy that became the last king of Portugal, Manuel II.
There's a statue to somebody else outside the Coach Museum, and he is crowned by a seagull. Very common.